George Gorman, 25 years old and a veteran of World War II, was a second lieutenant in the North Dakota National Guard, on October 1, 1948, when he encountered something unexplainable. Flying in a P-51 Mustang, he was participating in a cross-country flight with other National Guard pilots. His flight arrived over Fargo, at approximately 8:30 p.m., and the other pilots decided to land at Fargo's Hector Airport, because of the clear, cloudless conditions. Gorman decided to get in some night flying time and stayed aloft. Around 9:00 p.m., he flew over a football stadium, where a high school football game was being held. He noticed a small Piper Cub plane, flying some 500 feet below him, while the skies appeared clear. Shortly after, Gorman saw another object to the west. When he looked for the outline of a wing or fuselage, he could see none. This was peculiar since the Piper Cub's outline was clearly visible. The object appeared to be a blinking light. At 9:07 p.m., Gorman contacted the control tower, at Fargo's Hector Airport, and asked if it had any air traffic in the area, other than his P-51 and the Piper Cub. The tower's answer was negative, and it proceeded to contact the Piper Cub pilot, Dr. A.D. Cannon, who acknowledged that him and his passenger could also see a lighted object to the west. Gorman told the tower that he was going to pursue the object to determine its identity. He moved his Mustang to full power, 350 to 400 miles per hour, but soon realized that the object was going too fast for him to catch it in a straight run. Instead, he tried cutting the object off by turns. He made a right turn and approached the object head-on at 5,000 feet. The object flew over his plane at a distance of about 500 feet. Gorman described the object as a simple ball of light about 6 to 8 inches in diameter. He also noted later that when the object increased its speed, it stopped blinking and grew brighter, but broke off before coming close to his fighter. After his near collision, Gorman lost sight of the object, until it appeared, having made a 180-degree turn, and was coming at him again. The object then made a sudden vertical climb as Gorman quickly followed. At 14,000 feet his P-51 stalled with the object still 2,000 feet above him. Gorman made 2 further attempts to get closer to the object with no success. It seemed to make another head-on pass, but broke off before coming close to his fighter. By this point, the object had moved over the Fargo airport. In the control tower, the air traffic controller, L.D. Jensen, viewed the object through binoculars but could see no form or shape around the light. He was joined by Dr. Cannon, and his passenger from the Piper Cub, as they had landed, and walked to the control tower to get a better view of the object. Gorman continued to follow the object, until he was approximately 25 miles southwest of Fargo. At 14,000 feet, he observed the light, at 11,000 feet, and dived towards the mysterious object. However, the light made a vertical climb. Gorman tried to pursue but watched as the object passed out of visual range. At this point he broke off the chase. It was 9:27 p.m. and he flew back to Fargo's Hector Airport. On October 23, 1948, Gorman gave a sworn account of the incident to investigators. His testimony was often reprinted in future years in numerous books and documentaries about UFOs. The statement read, "I am convinced that there was definite thought behind its maneuvers. I am further convinced that the object was governed by the laws of inertia, because its acceleration was rapid, but not immediate, and although it was able to turn fairly tight at considerable speed, it still followed a natural curve. When I attempted to turn with the object, I blacked out temporarily due to excessive speed. I am in fairly good physical condition and I do not believe that there are many, if any pilots, who could withstand the turn and speed affected by the object, and remain conscious. The object was not only able to outturn and outspeed my aircraft, but was able to attain a far steeper climb, and was able to maintain a constant rate of climb, far in excess of my aircraft. Within a few hours, military officers from Project Sign arrived to question Gorman and the other witnesses. Project Sign had been created by the U.S. Air Force in late 1947 to investigate UFO reports. The officers interviewed Gorman, Dr. Cannon and his passenger, and the control tower personnel at Fargo's airport. The officers also checked Gorman's P-51 Mustang with a Geiger counter for radiation. They found that his Mustang was measurably more radioactive than other fighters, which had not flown for several days. This was taken as evidence that Gorman had flown close to an atomic-powered object. The Air Force investigators also ruled out the possibility of the lighted object being another aircraft, Canadian Vampire jet fighter, or a weather balloon. Their initial conclusion, writes UFO historian Curtis Peebles, was that something remarkable had occurred to Gorman in the skies above Fargo. Later, after further investigation, the U.S. Air Force worked to debunk the story by saying there was a weather balloon in the area, the radiation levels were due to flying higher in the atmosphere, and the pilot was actually chasing the planet, Jupiter, and not a UFO. Whether Gorman was happy with the official outcome remains unknown. Maintaining his silence, he returned to the Air Force full-time, eventually retiring at the rank of lieutenant colonel in 1969. He never spoke publicly about the encounter again. According to the Bismarck Tribune, he did tell friends, he was never convinced that he had been dueling with a lighted balloon for 27 minutes. Gorman died in 1982.